Hi guys, and welcome back to So Vegan Easy. That is outside. Check this recipe out. Today I'm going to be cooking some really nice, simple but amazingly delicious burritos for you guys. I'm going to go through the ingredients as normal and then we'll get cooking. Red cabbage, a lime, apple cider vinegar, baby gem or any lettuce, avocado, kidney beans, garlic, onion, and chopped tomatoes, some mushrooms. Then for your rice, we're just going to use cauliflower, so keep it a bit raw but still use that lime. Paprika, oregano, salt and pepper, and then your hot sauce you fancy. Alrighty guys, so as usual, you want to have your sharp knife, chopping board that is not going anywhere, although my table's kind of going somewhere, and we'll get started. I'm going to start with the pickle, so I'm going to use around half the cabbage, a bit under, and just make sure you haven't got any of that root that's there, so that's fine. And then I'm going to cut it in half, peel back about half of the layer, and it will just help with chopping. Do the same thing with the other side, and then you're just going to finely chop it. If you want, you can use a grater. I just prefer it to have the nice kind of longer pieces when you get to these bits, so it's totally up to you. And then same thing with these, I'll just cut them at a bit of an angle just to have them a bit longer. And if you haven't seen any of the videos so far, I'll just go explain really simply the technique that I'm using. First of all, just with the knife, I'm using a circular motion like this, and there's always a point of contact with the knife until it gets a bit higher, and then I'll just chop it like that. And then with my fingers, I'm using my thumb and my pinky to support it, and then I'm pushing down a bit on these because they've got the hollow bit in there. And then I'm using this flat bit of my finger as a guide for the knife, so that I know that I'm always going to keep it fine and I'm not going to cut my fingers, because the little bits of my fingers are pulled back like that. And I'm cutting it at a little bit of an angle, and then I'm just slowly leaning back and then picking my hand up and then rocking it back like that, moving it just gradually. And take your time when you're learning this. It's always better to start off slow and then pick up speed. Okay, so then we're going to grab our lime and cut that in half. Just a bit of nature in my bowl there. And then in the bowl, I'm going to go straight in with the cabbage. I'm going to give a good squeeze of half a lime. Make sure you get all that juice out. And then leave out a couple of tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. And you're going to get a good couple of pinches of salt. Usually use my dry hand, I've just got cut on my finger. So yeah, try and use a dry hand whenever you're seasoning. I've just remembered two ingredients I've forgotten. One of them is maple syrup, or you can use brown sugar, and that's for this. And the other one is stock. You can use stock cubes or stock powder. So get them involved if you've got them, and I'll obviously have them in the ingredients.
let's carry on.
So about a teaspoon to 2 teaspoons maple syrup, and then just going to get your hand stuck right in there. Give it a good mix up. Look at that vibrant, beautiful colour. This also might seem very random, but it's one of my favourite things. It's almost like a little science experiment. When you're finished with this, there's this beautiful purple liquid you can use to like colour things, like rice or anything like that. But when you start washing it up and you add water, it all of a sudden turns blue. Anyway, so just going to press that all down so it's all getting nice and submerged all equally. And then we're going to put that to one side. And then just going to give the board a little bit of a scrapey wipe. Then we're going to go on to our cauliflower. Now you can chop this. I've got a little grater like this, so I'm just going to be doing it like that. It's totally up to you how you want to do it. Just the idea is making it nice and fine. Or you can even have it bigger chunks if that's what you fancy. I'm going to pop the odd bits to one side. So this is obviously a little bit of time consuming, but it's worth it to have that nice extra level of flavour. Just an exciting different thing than the standard rice. Of course, you're more than welcome to just use rice if that's what you prefer. Right, last little bit. Okay, and then we're going to grab a bowl for that. Pop that in. And then just spread that out nicely. Get these other bits in there. And then similar to the pickle, just going to be doing some salt. Just about a pinch of salt, nothing too much. And then you're going to go with just a quarter of this lime. Just get that all mixed in. Great thing about being in nature as well is your natural compost area. So give that a mix. And pop that to one side, and then we're just going to drain that of the liquid after the salt's kind of reacted with it and drawn out some of that moisture. So we'll just have a quick clean up of your table. Okay, and then we're going to move on to the rest of this prep. So first of all, you're going to just dice the onion, and if you know what you're doing, crack on, otherwise you can watch me. So I'm just peeling back until I get a nice fresh layer. Bug out of my face. Beauty of preparing food in the wild. Well, not really wild, is it? Okay, so yeah, you can use the back of the knife or the front of the knife just to help peel those layers away. And then we're just going to go, first of all, just to slice it straight down the middle, not the whole way across, just leaving about maybe half a centimetre so that it helps the onion keep it together, so that when you dice it this way it all comes out. Ooh, bit of a slippy one. Nice and chopped like that. So that is usually actually quite a good sign of when that happens. It's usually because the skin is a little bit worn, so don't worry if that happens to you. Same thing again. Slices down the middle, and then you have your nice diced onion. So we'll put that as usual in one corner, and then we will go with our garlic next. So just with the garlic, you're just chopping the ends off, giving it a little tap, and then it should come off pretty nicely. And then you can choose to finely chop it, or I'm just going to use my grater again. And I'm going to pop this in at the same time as the onions, so it can just go straight on top. If you are using one of these, obviously just mind your fingers. This one is especially sharp, so I'm just trying to be twice as careful. There we go. Okay, and then I'm going to get these mushrooms, probably about a cup of mushrooms. And then just roughly chopping these up however which way you want. I prefer not to go too fine, just so you really get the bite from the mushrooms. And when I'm saying the bite, I mean just noticing when you're actually eating it. So I'm going to have that all going in at the same time. And then if you wanted, you could prep your avocado and your lettuce. So all we're going to do is just roughly slicing down the middle, just making sure you're not using the core. And then the avocado I'm going to cut, and then just with a fork kind of mash it up in the avocado. Saves washing up and can look nice as well. But I'm just going to put this on the hob first, especially because this is quite slow on this one. So we'll get cracking with that. Alrighty, so pop your hob on, get your pan on the go. Nice glug of oil. And then we're going to go straight in with all of our chopped bits. So I want to get those mushrooms really kind of going on, really cooking away. So spread that all out. Give it a mix first, actually, sorry. And then spread it all out. Then we're going to go with a good pinch of salt. And about a tablespoon of oregano. And maybe about a tablespoon of paprika as well. And then once more give that a mix. And just let that sizzle away. And then once onions started to sweat down, it's looking all ready, then we can go in with the beans, and then after that the tomatoes. Okay, so while we're waiting for that to cook, just really quickly gonna cut our lettuce down the middle. Just take that little bit of the root out of it. And I'm just gonna, nothing too fancy, just cut it a bit lengthways. The lettuce. Then for the avocado, just gonna cut all the way down the middle so you meet it, give it a twist, and then just give it a good old mash up. This is still a fairly young avocado, but okay, it's as easy as that. Righty, so these looking nice and cooked. So what we're going to do is grab our kidney beans, pop them straight in. And there are some big clouds that are coming overhead, so hopefully it doesn't start raining. Then we're going to go in with about half of our tomato, give that a mix. That's looking good. And we're just going to pop the lid on that and let that continue to cook until it starts getting really nice and soft. Don't forget to add your stock. About a teaspoon of it or two, about half a cube, whatever you fancy. Alrighty, so the last thing we're going to do is just give our tortillas a little toast. I've got nice wholemeal ones. I'd always say just try and go wholemeal or seeded, or get that extra bit of goodness and protein in. Oh, it's starting to stick. There you go, look at that. Okay, one more. Can pop that heat off now. And then it is time to make some burritos. Okay, so first up, I normally start with the rice. I know I said to squeeze this, but it's actually pretty dry, and I've just given it a taste and it's really good like that, and I think it'll work nicely moist. So yeah, I normally would start, even if you're using rice, with the rice as well, because it just helps absorb that flavour a bit more. And then I'm going to go with the pickle. And then I'm going to pop the guac on the side. Just helps you be able to take it out a bit easier, to be honest. Nothing else. Make sure you get a bit at the end. That's the key, is making sure you have the bite the same the whole way down. And then go with our chili. Beautiful looking chili. Oh, I forgot to mention on camera that you just got to make sure you give that a final taste adjustment. Oh, my mouth is watering so much. And then finally some fresh goodness. I just kind of get as much as I can fit in there. I'm one of those that literally loads it right to the brim as well. And then just a little squeeze of lime on top. And then this is very important. make sure you tuck that bottom first, and then you bring the other two sides up. And then I'll kind of just pinch it like this without closing it and pick it up. And you're able to just pull it a bit tighter. And then you can squeeze that all the way right in. And there you have one beautiful burrito. And there you have it, it's that simple. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe if you want to watch any more, or share it with your friends, because that's what this is all about. Otherwise, enjoy. Good with that cauliflower rice. It's been a while. Excuse me.